It's a very catchy political campaigning song for sure.
That was our initial reaction just for the song purely. So now we'll start talking more deeper and try to break down what the song actually represents. So here are 5 things that we'd like to point out from this flag anthem.
5 things that we noticed. But before getting into that, one small thing. A lot of people on social media platforms are saying that there is Anirudh cameo in the song and they were circling it. What do you think about that? Mention that in the comments below. And like we spoke in the intro that, Vijay has been manifesting it slowly, putting from Thalapathy movie till now that, his political entry is not a surprise. It's something that he has planned. And look at this image. So one image is from Mersal and the other one is from Bigel. The color of the flag, the color symbolism, and if you look at both the images, I think maybe it can be we are trying to dig too deep to analyze.
Because those songs, Mersal, I don't know, but at least in the song from Bigel, it had other colors too.
Exactly. No, but that's the thing. But maybe it is also a possibility, so that's why I wanted to get it out of my mind. Number 1, flag, symbolism, and colors used in it. Starting with the first thing in the song, which is elephants. So elephants are symbolizing, according to what we have seen, somebody sitting and so basically exactly. So because it's creating havoc and people are going all over the place.
Yeah, and it's not like the elephants don't have. The elephants also had their mahouts on top of them.
Correct.
Another thing we noticed is that one person had a free hair while the other had something
tied around. The farmers kind of.
Yes.
So if you know what it is.
Yeah, if you get we've noticed it, but if you get the meaning of it, do mention it in the comments below. So there is that, but we can see that 2, dark elephants have lost control, or is it the mahouts who are doing it?
Yeah.
Using the elephants in such a way, it is open for interpretation, because usually an elephant who has lost control doesn't have somebody sitting on it.
Correct.
Right? So it is probably trying to show that somebody is steering this really powerful.
Yeah, or the elephant is just power, which should be controlled in a way. In the sense that elephant is something which is huge, like power, but it can't be left uncontrolled. So I feel like the elephant here symbolizes power, and the mammoths who are controlling it are the people who are creating the havoc among people.
Until our savior arrives in a white shining horse.
Yes.
Again, for any cinema lover, that is a clear indication of the hero's arrival. Yes. If you can see the symbol, it feels like while the horse rider is getting down, so does the elephant's land.
The savior and the power landing together. That means the savior who is going to use the power in the right direction will create a wave where.
Yeah.
You get the point, right? What the scene is trying to say, according to us, is that these two can potentially be the Dravidian parties which have been there in power for a while now in Tamil Nadu, and then the savior is here to save the people of Tamil Nadu. Now, number 2, no DMK reference. If you look at this frame in the song where there is MGR clearly seen in the background, and Anna, which is another scene in the foreground, and Vijay standing in the center with the flag on the side and people around it. Yeah. This image clearly signifies that, what kind of ideology or what are the beliefs or the ideals, according to us, supposedly that Vijay is going to follow or what he believes in. But the clear thing is that even Karunanidhi is a legend in terms of politics of Tamil Nadu, and there's no reference of him.
Or Jayalalitha, anybody of that sort. Again, each one has had their own perspective, but I feel like this is purely to indicate what Vijay aligns himself with, or what Vijay's ideologies have been inspired by.
Yeah.
And again, I'd say that this is still the TVK party's anthem, flag anthem, and not Tamil Nadu politics anthem.
Yeah. What do you think of this portion of it? Mention that in the comments below.
Number 3, the economic representation.
Yeah.
So if you look at the visual representation here, and also in the lyrics as well, there has been a proper representation for people of all economic strata. We are not talking about the caste and the religions and all of it. We will get to it again later. But here we are purely talking about the people who are working, the economic, and in terms of economy, because we can see the fishermen, there are fishermen. We can see that there are auto drivers. We can see there are IT employees. We can see that there are all the
daily
Paura Karmikas.
Yeah, everybody.
So
Bengaluru gets a new sparkle with Bhima's second showroom at Dickinson Road.
Exciting inaugural offers from August 23rd to 25th. Get up to 10% off on gold rate.
On diamond, get flat rupees 7,000 off per carat plus 1 gram free gold coin with every carat. On silver, save up to rupees 2,500 per kg and get an additional rupees 2,500 as cashback.
Hurry, shop today at Bhima's new Dickinson Road showroom near Commercial Street. TNC apply.
There is a clear indication that the kind of people that TVK wants to earn the support of
Correct.
is not just, us people working in a certain class.
Yeah. And the song is structured in a way, like we previously mentioned, it's not about appealing to everybody. It's about everybody is with us. We are already victorious with the support that we are receiving. So if you look at it also, auto drivers are supporting, fishermen are supporting. The way it is constructed that, from all economic backgrounds, everybody is going to support TMK. Yeah. That is how it is being positioned in terms of the economic class. Okay. But didn't you feel that there's more emphasis given, especially some lyric portions and the more images and all of that, given to the working class, which is potentially the vote bank? Because as we all know, the urban voters in general don't come and vote, which is a sad situation. Guys, please go practice your vote.
Right. So even with the Lok Sabha elections, we have noticed this, that in all the metro cities, especially, the voter turnout was really poor, like disappointing level poor. So
correct.
For all our viewers, whoever are watching us, if you are above 18, please, if you don't have it already, go get your voter's ID done. Go and vote. Exercise your right and power. I'd say exercise your power anytime there is a chance to. Make sure, even if you don't like any of the people who are contesting, which is I understand and I acknowledge that notion to have or that feeling to have, but please do go and vote. Make that one vote count, even if it is not going for anybody.
Number 4, which is religious and the cultural emphasis in the video. So starting from the whole Jallikattu image of and the horns, which in general symbolizes a crown or something of it. Again, like we previously mentioned, we keep mentioning that these are our assumptions based on what we see. So the haldi kumkum that they apply, which is a Hindu culture, this thing, and it over a period of time became a tradition, and then slowly you see rangolis and all of that where this flag is being used and a lot of things. And another thing is a lot of different age groups, which shows everybody is under support. So those kind of things are also there. Every religion is trying to be included.
In my opinion, right, starting from Jallikattu.
Correct.
That is how it's pronounced?
Yes, Jallikattu.
Okay. So with that itself, they have placed this emphasis on the Tamil culture.
Correct.
And it's not just that. There were many other visual hinting towards how precious they keep the culture, the Tamil culture.
Pongal, flying kites.
Yes, all of it. And including this color of the red and yellow in all of it as well is something that is to be noticed. One thing is excellent branding.
Yeah.
Throughout the video, excellent branding. But the second thing is these colors also hold a lot of value. Along with it comes the point that religious representation. I felt like, there were a few scenes that, seemed Hindu, but at this point of time, I feel like many people use the Rangoli.
Correct.
There is a utilization of I understand that it is a representation of one particular religion, but I feel like this is another part where, that is being used to represent many more people than what meets the eye. And also there were representations of other, I saw Muslim representation, I saw Christian, I saw there was a couple of frames only to show secularism.
Correct.
There was a couple of frames to show unity with the democratic pillars of democracy. There was a frame to show that as well, where everybody is reaching out to the TVK flag.
Correct.
Again, reaching out is what I'm placing emphasis on, because it kind of made me feel like the video hinted that for the 4 pillars to stand, they needed TVK.
That's a very subtle messaging I feel they have given. So that's
While we are talking about inclusivity, moving on to the next one, which is number 5, which is the color theme and the flag.
Correct. According to me, red is blood, violence, or protest, or revolution. Yellow is pink is women. Green in the stars is Muslims. Blue is maybe backward communities. And the flower pink women, like I told. So basically, it's like Hindu, Muslim, Christian, everybody. the flag, the color representation includes all of them, is what I felt. And if you look at the stars in the center and how half of it is green and half of it is blue, and if we assume that green is Muslim color, like the color there used in the symbolism is for Muslim representation and blue for the backward community or Dalit representation, they are the stars or the priorities, a way to look at it.
Yeah.
That can be a symbolism that they were aiming at, is what I feel.
That is a good observation. Even I am surprised, pleasantly surprised. Yeah, for me, it felt like the red mostly represented the working class of Tamil Nadu, which is why it took the majority of the flag.
Correct.
Right. And while yellow, for me, yellow felt like it is just the general category.
Or maybe if I think about it, all the other colors, pink, blue, all of that, and the blend of it will end up becoming yellow according to the color structure, the center of it.
Yeah.
Yeah. So maybe red, which is the working class and the struggle class, and the center yellow. And if you look at the last slide where it's yellow but mixture of all colors, maybe that is what it is. Yellow is the graded version of all the colors, which is symbolizing the inclusivity. And like I mentioned, right, stars and all is like special emphasis, and the flower is women and victory. So maybe that could be a way to look at the the flag.
Probably. Yeah, for me, like I was saying, I felt like yellow might be the general category, which, it is a neutral color. I haven't ever heard anybody associate yellow with a particular religion.
Correct.
So there is green with Muslims, there is orange with saffron with Hindus,
white with Christians.
Yeah, so I haven't really heard anybody, or to the best of my knowledge, I haven't associated yellow with any particular religion. So I feel like this is to represent the general category, while in the flag there are two elephants and then a flower in between, which we spoke about. The two elephants which take down the other two elephants and all of it, and the flower is the symbol of victory, the Vagai flower.
Correct.
But surrounding it is the stars, where I see your point of all of it blending, while pink is in the flower in between. So I feel like, again, all of this is very inclusive. But one thing is coming to my mind. So while we say that blue is a representative of all the backward classes, it feels like I noticed it before in the video as well.
Right.
Very brief second. So if you go back to the frame where the savior or the leader comes and lands on his horse holding a flag, there is a very bird's eye view shot of him riding the horse, and while he is riding, I actually in the flag saw shades of blue. And to sum it all up, for me the best part about this song was the song in itself. I am still the entertainment editor of SoSouth.
Yes.
So the song was amazing. If you put it in a film, it is definitely going to be a chartbuster. So for the composers, the lyricists, props to them as well. The editor of the song, great props to him or her as well.
Technically, this song is very, very good. Kudos to all the technical team who worked on this song and trying to get the symbolization right. And we hope we did justice to the decoding of the message that you have placed in this song. If not, anyway, Vijay told that he will announce in his next meeting. So we'll anyway get to know. But till then, if you found some details that we didn't notice, mention that in the comments below. And what do you think about the song, the reaction, the party, anything, the comment section is open. Mention all of that in the comments below. And thank you so much for all the love and support that you've been giving us. Continue to give that. We do a lot of reviews, reactions, analysis, outdoor vlogs, lot of things. All of that, the links will be in the description. And check out our channel for more videos. Just go.
And also, Thalapathy Vijay's one of the last films, which is greatest of all time, is about to hit theaters on 5th September. Again, Vati coming on Teachers' Day.
Yeah.
And also, we reacted to the songs, the trailer, the teaser of GOAT.
Yes,
Check
and we
those
will be
videos out too. We'll be
urging
on the
more
field at whatever time the film releases. We'll be catching the first day, first show, and we'll try to be the first ones to bring you the review of
and
the
dance
film.
your whistle pod also in the theater.
Yeah, I mean, he will. I will stand.
We will- Yes, this is Maruti Acharya,
And I am Sanjay Ponappa.
and you're watching India Today SoSouth. It's a very catchy political campaigning song for sure.
That was our initial reaction just for the song purely. So now we'll start talking more deeper and try to break down what the song actually represents. So here are 5 things that we'd like to point out from this flag anthem.
5 things that we noticed, but before getting into that, one small thing. A lot of people on social media platforms are saying that there is Anirudh cameo in the song and they were circling it. What do you think about that? Mention that in the comments below. And like we spoke in the intro that Vijay has been manifesting it, slowly putting from Thalapathy movie till now that his political entry is not a surprise. It's something that he has planned. And look at this image. So one image is from Mersal and the other one is from Bigel. The color of the flag, the color symbolism, and if you look at both the images, I think maybe it can be we are trying to dig too deep to analyze.
Because those songs, Mercil, I don't know, but at least in the song from Bigel, it had other colors too.
Exactly. No, but that's the thing. But maybe it is also a possibility. So that's why I wanted to get it out of my mind. Number 1, flag, symbolism, and colors used in it. Starting with the first thing in the song, which is elephants. So elephants are symbolizing, according to what we have seen, somebody sitting and so basically exactly. So because it's creating havoc and people are going all over the place.
Yeah, and it's not like the elephants don't have. The elephants also had their mahouts on top of them.
Correct.
Another thing we noticed is that one person had a free hair while the other had something.
Turban tied around. The farmers kind of.
Yes.
So, if you know what it is.
Yeah, if you get we've noticed it, but if you get the meaning of it, do mention it in the comments below. So there is that, but we can see that 2 dark elephants have lost control, or is it the mahouts who are doing it?
Yeah.
Using the elephants in such a way, it is open for interpretation, because usually an elephant who has lost control doesn't have somebody sitting on it.
Correct.
Right? So it is probably trying to show that somebody is steering this really powerful.
Yeah, or the elephant is just power, which should be controlled in a way. In the sense that elephant is something which is huge, like power, but it can't be left uncontrolled. So I feel like the elephant here symbolizes power, and the mammoths who are controlling it are the people who are creating the havoc among people.
Until our savior arrives in a white shining horse.
Yes.
Again, for any cinema lover, that is a clear indication of the hero's arrival. Yes. If you can see the symbol, it feels like while the horse rider is getting down, so does the elephant's land.
The savior and the power landing together. That means the savior who is going to use the power in the right direction will create a wave where.
Yeah.
You get the point, right? What the scene is trying to say, according to us, is that these two can potentially be the Dravidian parties which have been there in power for a while now in Tamil Nadu, and then the savior is here to save the people of Tamil Nadu. Now, number 2, no DMK reference. If you look at this frame in the song, where there is MGR clearly seen in the background, and Anna, which is another scene in the foreground, and Vijay standing in the center with the flag on the side and people around it. Yeah. This image clearly signifies that, what kind of ideology or what are the beliefs or the ideals, according to us, supposedly that Vijay is going to follow or what he believes in. But the clear thing is that even Karunanidhi is a legend in terms of politics of Tamil Nadu, and there's no reference of him.
Or Jayalalitha, anybody of that sort. Again, each one has had their own perspective, but I feel like this is purely to indicate what Vijay aligns himself with, or what Vijay's ideologies have been inspired by.
Yeah.
And again, I'd say that this is still the TVK party's anthem, flag anthem, and not Tamil Nadu politics anthem.
Yeah. What do you think of this portion of it? Mention that in the comments below.
Number 3, the economic representation.
Yeah.
So if you look at the visual representation here, and also in the lyrics as well, there has been a proper representation for people of all economic strata. We are not talking about the caste and the religions and all of it. We will get to it again later. But here we are purely talking about the people who are working, the econom, and in terms of economy, because we
Exactly.
can see the fishermen. There are fishermen. We can see that
Auto
there are
drivers.
auto drivers. We can see there are IT employees. We can see that there are all the
Daily
Paura
yeah,
Karmikas.
yeah, everybody.
So there is a clear indication that the kind of people that TVK wants to earn the support of
Correct.
is not just us people working in a certain class.
Yeah. And the song is structured in a way, like we previously mentioned, it's about not about appealing to everybody, it's about everybody is with us. We are already victorious with the support that we are receiving. So if you look at it also, auto drivers are supporting, fishermen are supporting. The way it is constructed, that from all economic backgrounds, everybody is going to support TMK. That is how it is being positioned in terms of the economic class. Okay. But didn't you feel that there's more emphasis given, especially some lyric portions and the more images and all of that, given to the working class, which is potentially the vote bank? Because as we all know, the urban voters in general don't come and vote, which is a sad situation. Guys, please go practice your vote.
Right. So even with the Lok Sabha elections, we have noticed this, that in all the metro cities, especially, the voter turnout was really poor, like disappointing level poor. So
Correct.
for all our viewers whoever are watching us, if you are above 18, please, if you don't have it already, go get your voters ID done. Go and vote. Exercise your right and power. I'd say exercise your power anytime there is a chance to. Make sure, even if you don't like any of the people who are contesting, which is I understand and I acknowledge that notion to have, or that feeling to have, but please do go and vote. Make that one vote count, even if it is not going for anybody.
Number 4, which is religious and the cultural emphasis in the video. So starting from the whole Jallikattu image of and the horns, which in general symbolizes a crown or something of it. Again, like we previously mentioned, we keep mentioning that these are our assumptions based on what we see. So the haldi kumkum that they apply, which is a Hindu culture, this thing, and it over a period of time became a tradition, and then slowly you see rangolis and all of that where this flag is being used and a lot of things. And another thing is a lot of different age groups, which shows everybody is under support. So those kind of things are also there. Every religion is trying to be included.
In my opinion, right, starting from Jallikattu.
Correct.
That is how it's pronounced?
Yes, Jallikattu.
Okay. So with that itself, they have placed this emphasis on the Tamil culture.
Correct.
And it's not just that. There were many other visual hinting towards how precious they keep the culture, the Tamil culture.
Pongal, flying kites.
Yes, all of it. And including this color of the red and yellow in all of it as well is something that is to be noticed. One thing is excellent branding.
Yeah.
Throughout the video, excellent branding. But the second thing is these colors also hold a lot of value. Along with it comes the point that religious representation. I felt like, there were a few scenes that seemed Hindu, but at this point of time, I feel like many people use the rangoli.
Correct.
There is a utilization of I understand that it is a representation of one particular religion, but I feel like this is another part where that is being used to represent many more people than
Correct.
what meets the eye. And also there were representations of other I saw Muslim representation, I saw
Correct.
Christian, I saw the whole. There was a couple of frames only to show secularism.
Correct.
There was a couple of frames to show unity with the democratic pillars of democracy. There was a frame to show that as well, where everybody is reaching out to the TVK flag.
Correct.
Again, reaching out is what I'm placing emphasis on, because it kind of made me feel like the video hinted that for the 4 pillars to stand, they needed TVK.
That's a very subtle messaging I feel they've given. So that's
While we are talking about inclusivity, moving on to the next one, which is number 5, which is the color theme and the flag.
correct. According to me, red is blood, violence, or protest or revolution. Yellow is pink is women. Green in the stars is Muslims. Blue is maybe backward communities. And the flower pink women, like I told. So basically, it's like Hindu, Muslim, Christian, everybody. The flag, the color representation includes all of them, is what I felt. And if you look at the stars in the center and how half of it is green and half of it is blue, and if we assume that green is Muslim color, like the color there used in the symbolism is for Muslim representation and blue for the backward community or Dalit representation, they are the stars or the priorities, a way to look at it.
Yeah.
That can be a symbolism that they were aiming at, is what I feel.
That is a good observation. Even I am surprised, pleasantly surprised. For me, it felt like the red mostly represented the working class of Tamil Nadu, which is why it took the majority of the flag.
Correct.
Right. And while yellow, for me, yellow felt like it is just the general category.
Or maybe if I think about it, all the other colors, pink, blue, all of that, and the blend of it will end up becoming yellow according to the color structure, the center of it.
Yeah.
Yeah. So maybe red, which is the working class and the struggle class, and the center yellow. And if you look at the last slide where it's yellow but mixture of all colors, maybe that is what it is. Yellow is the graded version of all the colors, which is symbolizing the inclusivity, and the like I mentioned, right, stars and all is like special emphasis, and the flower is women and victory. So maybe that could be a way to look at the the flag.
Probably. For me, like I was saying, I felt like yellow might be the general category, which, it is a neutral color. I haven't ever heard anybody associate yellow with a particular religion.
Correct.
So there is green with Muslims, there is orange with saffron with Hindus,
white with Christians.
Yeah, so I haven't really heard anybody, or to the best of my knowledge, I haven't associated yellow with any particular religion. So I feel like this is to represent the general category, while in the flag there are two elephants and then a flower in between, which we spoke about. The two elephants which take down the other two elephants and all of it, and the flower is the symbol of victory, the Vagai flower.
Correct.
But surrounding it is the stars, where I see your point of all of it blending, while pink is in the flower in between. So I feel like, again, all of this is very inclusive, but one thing is coming to my mind. So while we say that blue is a representative of all the backward classes, it feels like I noticed it before in the video as well.
Right.
Very brief second. So if you go back to the frame where the savior or the leader comes and lands on his horse holding a flag, there is a very bird's eye view shot of him riding the horse, and while he is riding, I actually in the flag saw shades of blue. And to sum it all up, for me the best part about this song was the song in itself. I am still the entertainment editor of SoSouth.
Yes.
So the song was amazing. If you put it in a film, it is definitely going to be a chartbuster. So for the composers, the lyricists, props to them as well. The editor of the song, great props to him or her as well.
Technically, this song is very, very good. Kudos to all the technical team who worked on this song and trying to get the symbolization right. And we hope we did justice to the decoding of the message that you have placed in this song. If not, anyway, Vijay told that he will announce in his next meeting. So we'll anyway get to know. But till then, if you found some details that we didn't notice, mention that in the comments below. And what do you think about the song, the reaction, the party, anything, the comment section is open. Mention all of that in the comments below. And thank you so much for all the love and support that you've been giving us. Continue to give that. We do a lot of reviews, reactions, analysis, outdoor vlogs, lot of things. All of that, the links will be in the description. And check out our channel for more videos. Just go.
And also, Thalapathy Vijay's one of the last films, which is greatest of all time, is about to hit theaters on 5th September. Again, Vati coming on Teachers' Day.
Yeah.
And also, we reacted to the songs, the trailer, the teaser of GOAT.
Yes.
Check those videos out too. We'll be on the field at whatever time the film releases. Yes. We'll be catching the first day, first show, and we'll try to be the first ones to bring you the review of the film.
Whistle port also in the theater.
Yeah. I mean, he will. I will stand.
Yes, this is Maruti Acharya,
And I am Sanjay Ponappa.
and you're watching India Today SoSouth.
Oh, he was
Six. That's how many times we won the World Cup. What about you, mate?
Mate? 8? 8 out of every 10 top tech jobs are on high risk.
The only job site with only the top tech jobs. Hirist.tech.
Built by the erstwhile Nizam of this principality for providing drinking water to the people around Hyderabad. And joining me on this hot, humid, sunny day is the star campaigner of the Bharatiya Janata Party in the southern states. Annamalai joins us. He's called the Singham of Tamil Nadu, created a bit of a stir in the battlefield in Tamil Nadu. Now, you're being deputed by your party outside Tamil Nadu. You haven't proven yourself in Tamil Nadu yet. You've become a star camper in Telangana.
I'm only doing what work party has given, sir. There are not I'm visible to you. There are hundreds of karyakartas outside Tamil Nadu who are working in Andhra now. They're doing a work that is going to support our candidates here. Everybody is busy. The state president is busy. All leaders are busy. We manage the office. We do some work for them. It is our duty. So there's nothing to prove or not to prove, sir. We are doing our duty as karyakarta.
You know, the big story today is this comment made by Congress leader Sam Pedroda, where he said people in the south are like Africans, those in the east are like Chinese. What do you make of this comment from Sam Pedroda, who seems to have shot his mouth off again?
Very unfortunate, sir. What he said today is very unfortunate because Africans, Chinese, Arabs, whites, I'm not saying it is a wrong term. It's okay. They are their own culture and civilization. But what he means is we are descendants of invaders. Somebody has invaded our country and we are descendants of those invaders. That is why West Arab, Northeast he calls Chinese, North he calls white, and South he calls African. This shows their mindset. And that is why I mentioned in my tweet also now. This is coming from Sam Pedroda sitting in US and essentially coming from Congress party. You are linked with George Soros and the leaders have got an origin that is outside the country. They are not in Bharatiya spirit. They are shooting their mouth because they believe in it in the heart. That is why it is important, like our Prime Minister says, India is getting ready for a Congress Mukt Bharat once again in our thinking, in our lifestyle. And people of India are watching, not only this inheritance tax, now this, and every Congress leader is competing with each other to show the people of our country who can shoot their mouth more.
But it seems that Sam Pedroda is like a lucky omen, good luck charm for the BJP. It's almost like you all have propped him up, ki kuch bolo, boss. Create some masala which gives the BJP a punching bag to attack the Congress with.
An indisciplined party cannot go further, sir. If you look at a party that doesn't have its communication strategy, anybody can say anything. And Congress party, for what we are seeing, it's a disparate group of individuals who have assembled, which is glued by the Gandhi Parivar. Rahul Gandhi ji is the face of it. Zero discipline, communication we are seeing. Anybody can speak anything they want. And that is a reflection of Congress mindset. A disciplined party cannot go anywhere, be it governance, be it an aspiration for power. And Sam Pedroda ji is severely undisciplined. Inheritance tax just created an issue. Now again is calling, that too is standing by it. So look at the language he spoke. He said, India is such a complex country to govern. So meaning he says that we are not Bharatiyas. We are not a single group of individuals. We are alike with each other. In this, that is why Congress mentions South is different, North is different. Congress mentions Northeast is different. Now Sam Pedroda has given some logic to what Congress is saying. Very indisciplined.
You know, the other big controversy is the Prime Minister targeting the Congress for not attacking Ambani Adani. Now, given the charges that have been leveled by the Congress at the BJP for being close to these industrial groups, what do you, as a strategist, as a political worker, think of the Prime Minister using Ambani Adani to now attack the Congress?
No, sir, we watched the Prime Minister's speech today in Telangana. So what he meant is, now for Congress, Ambani, Adani is a dirty word. They say, oh, you are dirty people. That is how the whole narrative, they are running it from 2019 very specifically. Now PM is saying, okay, you please tell us how much money you have taken from the industrialist. You may mention dirty money. You disclose to the people of our country who has backed you, who has given you money. And so-called dirty money, you come out and open. I think Prime Minister is only saying, for a long time, Congress is vilifying industrialists in our country. And Congress mindset is somebody is an industrialist, meaning they have done something wrong. If somebody has earned money the legal way also, in Congress mindset, you have made it the illegal way. Our Honorable Prime Minister in Telangana today has come out in the open to say, okay, you're calling them like this. Now you come out in the open to say, you haven't taken any political money, be it a state unit, be it a central unit. Even in the legal way, you haven't taken any money. Come out in the open. Let Congress come out in the open and say they don't have any association with the Ambanis and Adanis, sir. At any point of time, during any elections, let them come out in the open and
You are
say.
currently in Telangana helping the BJP with its Telangana campaign. What is Telangana looking like? Because this is the one state where the Congress thinks it is in a good position to give the BJP a fight, and the BJP hopes to more than double its tally from last time.
It's a very interesting election in Telangana, sir. 17 seats. And Congress believes Telangana as their fourth. BJP 2019, we had 4 MPs people of Telangana have given. But this time you see, sir, when June 4 results are coming, Telangana is in a very clear mood. First, they rejected TRS in the assembly election. They're going to reject Congress in the Lok Sabha election because of how the Congress have behaved over the last few months. They gave wrong promises, 6 guarantees. They came to power. They couldn't even fulfill a single guarantee. And Congress in its narration, in its speech, complete anti-Hindu. The election commission, the chief electoral officer has banned one Congress star campaigner from using certain words. Whether Ram is your chacha chachi, this is the kind of language. They say there's a fight between Lord Ram and Lord Shiva. This is the kind of language Congress uses. Now anti-Hindu in its nature, anti-development. Yesterday in Hyderabad rains, you have seen the kind of choke point that happened. So people are very clear. First we rejected TRS, now we'll reject Congress. Now BJP naturally is in the pole position now. In 17 seats, you will see a major shift of voters to BJP this side.
But as one of the major faces of the BJP in the south, do you concede that the southern election is very different from the election in the north, the west, and the east? Because in the south, the opposition seems to be far better placed than it is in Karnataka. The election is tighter. In Telangana, because there's a state government, the dynamics are very different from the rest of the country.
I might not agree with it wholly, sir. In fact, I'll put it like this. Here, the political parties are more entrenched. The so-called Dravidian parties, so-called regional parties, they're more entrenched. In Tamil Nadu, if you see, 70 years it's Dravidian parties. Again, Karnataka, for a long time, Congress state. Again, Puducherry, long time Congress state. Again, look at Kerala, long time Congress communist state. So we are only looking at that first door to open. We just want that one door to open so that people actually see BJP's development model. So till you see...
No, but we saw in Karnataka, it was a very corrupt kind of development model with lots of infighting. So it's not like you were able to provide Ram Rajya in Karnataka, which is why you got voted out.
Karnataka is a complex state. In 30 years, no party has retained power, sir. Instead of saying that typical anti-incumbency has caught up, we have to agree that Karnataka people always want a change. I can give you, sir, 2013, Congress came to power with super majority. 2014, we swept it in Lok Sabha. 2018, the same thing happened. 19, we swept it. 2023, the same thing happened. So Karnataka is a pro-Modi state. People love Modi ji like anything. This time also in 28 seats, you will see, sir. In South, all we are looking at is one opportunity people should give us, specifically in Tamil Nadu, Kerala and all, so that people see our developmental model. In Telangana, that opportunity BJP is going to get in 2024, June 4.
Do you think Coimbatore could be that door? Because you
we
made
are
it a very
hoping,
hype
sir.
contest.
We are hoping, sir. We are hoping. Coimbatore, we have fought very hard. Kanyakumari, many parts of Tamil Nadu, we have fought very, very hard. South Tamil Nadu, western part, Chennai. In fact, a sitting governor, she chose to resign. Her heart was in politics. She came to Chennai to contest. So this point of time in Tamil Nadu, for your kind information also, sir, in Peramballur, the sitting MP who won in DMK symbol, he contested in BJP symbol this time. A sitting MP in Peramballur who won in DMK symbol, he contested in BJP symbol this time. So good leaders contested. So we are extremely confident June 4th will be kind to BJP and NDA in Tamil Nadu.
What do you think of this north-south divide? You know, we had DK Suresh say that there should be a separate southern state because we interviewed Revanth Reddy. He says BJP doesn't give that kind of prominence to southern leaders. Your MPs from Hyderabad, Karnataka don't have the kind of prominence that they should, that UP and Gujarat are dominating.
Now, Revanth Reddy Garu, couple of months back when PM was on the stage, he mentioned this. Revanth Reddy Garu exactly mentioned in Hindi, I am going to say that in English. He said, Modi ji is my bada bhai. Revanth Reddy Garu said. He said Modi ji doesn't discriminate. As a chief minister, he says he never felt Modi ji discriminated. Revanth Reddy Garu also said he wants the Gujarat model of development to Telangana. He also said like how Modi ji has done Sabarmati, he wants to do for Musi Riverya. This is Revanth Reddy Garu before the model code of conduct election came. Now, same Revanth Reddy Garu, after MCC has come, he is speaking a political language. Sir, anybody in South will know. Telangana got 9 lakh crore. We got 10 lakh 76,000 crore. No discrimination happened to anybody. It is only Revanth Reddy Garu who has to say how many times the South Congress government got dismissed by Rajiv Gandhi and Indira Gandhi ji. People like Virendra Patel ji, governments in Tamil Nadu, even Congress defeated Karmaveer Kamaraj Raya, who was their chief minister. Now Congress doesn't have any right to say, moment in Congress, any southern leaders become tall, become a competition to the Gandhi Parivar, they use 356 and dismiss them. Virendra Patil is a classic example. Karmaveer Kamaraj Rai is a classic example. Now, why did Revanth Reddy Garu as chief minister say this? After elections was announced, why is he saying this?
There are people in politics, some in your party, some outside, who think that Annamalai put his personal interest first by constantly talking against the AIDMK, making it impossible for Mr. Palanisamy to stay with the NDA. You chose to put your personal interest ahead of the NDA's interest. If the NDA had fought BJP plus AIDMK, you would have done better than the BJP fighting alone in this election.
We have to understand there's nothing called personal interest. It's always the party's interest. We are here to bring BJP to power. We are here to bring Modi ji for a record third term with a historic mandate. That is very clear goal, sir. 2019, you see BJP and ADMK alliance in Tamil Nadu. Where were we? Where were we, sir? Every seat we lost by 2.5 lakh margin. It was the worst possible defeat for us in 2019. Modi ji having such a great name, that doing so much. The ADMK's anti-incumbency got transferred to us. ADMK's corruption got transferred to us. ADMK is so corrupt. Now we have to understand, in an alliance also, it is important that alliance partners carry the load. And ADMK has to carry the load. Nothing. Coimbatore. 2014, ADMK, BJP contested separately. 2019, we contested together. So BJP got lesser number of votes in an alliance than what BJP got standing alone. Now everybody in Tamil Nadu, the writing was on the wall. ADMK was not behaving as a proper alliance partner. How many times Mr. Edappadi Palanisamy ji spoke about Prime Minister? Never. He never used Prime Minister's name. How many times he wanted to say that this NDA, our model, economic model? Never. And you cannot sit in an alliance where we want a 3-language formula. ADMK doesn't want a 3-language formula. You cannot sit in an alliance where Edappadi Palanisamy ji is against NEET. We want NEET. You cannot sit in an alliance where they were also saying that we are discriminating Tamil Nadu. So how will the alliance gel, sir? So this time you will see, we will deliver a historic result in NDA. If you have gone with the ADMK, 100% the results would be much poorer than what we are getting now.
So we are currently in the middle of the Hussain Sagar Lake, and that's the famous Buddha statue behind us. So what we want to do is also give you a flavor of the city, give you a flavor of the campaign. So we're going to go for a quick walk around that. Anna Garu, please come with us. Let's just go for a... Yes. So what you're trying to do essentially, Anna, is rewrite the political calculus of Tamil Nadu. What you're trying to do is, take a state which has typically been a Dravidian state, either you're pro DMK or pro AIDMK, and you're trying to rewrite the political dynamics of this state. How long do you think this project will take?
Sir,
fighting the 2031 elections, what is it that you have in mind?
I firmly believe when you have leaders like Prime Minister Narendra Modi ji, when you have pakka strategists and hardcore party leaders like Amit Shah ji now, and a president like JP Nadda ji, if you are not doing it now, you will never do it, sir. Because you are having such a wonderful leadership in Delhi, which is guiding, which is very clear, which is very aggressive also, putting national and party interest front. So we believe this is the time. Modi ji, 10 years of government, if you are not able to showcase to people of Tamil Nadu that we are very different from the Dravidian parties, when will you get that moment, sir? I believe 2024 will open the doors, increased vote share, number of MPs. 2026, we believe reasonably we can come, because Tamil Nadu, there is a political vacuum. They are not Jayalalitha ji, they are not Karunanidhi ji. Now 3 years DMK has completed. Look at the anti-incumbency DMK has generated. Of course, they have a larger alliance. They are looking at consolidating their respective vote share. That is different argument, sir. 2026, we believe will be our time. For you, it might look very optimistic or very bombastic what I'm saying, but we earnestly believe Tamil Nadu, once you cross that 18% vote share as a party, the next 12%, 13% will come quickly, sir. It's just a matter of time, because people shift very fast.
There are some who are fans of Annamalai, and then there are some who say you're a helium balloon. There's too much air is being pumped into you by the central leadership because there is a vacuum. They don't have a face. They need someone. So make him larger than life. Make him look like he's Tamil Nadu Singham. Actually, he's not as big as he's made out to be. That this is a media. You speak to anybody in the AIDMK or the DMK. That's what they say, that he's a media, social media creation.
You're right, sir. I'm not saying that anybody can say anything. I can't shut their mouth. But I am a party worker. We are working hard for the party. The party will grow. Of course, we got a long mile to grow, a lot of elections to prove. Our leadership is under test and we have to deliver. I completely agree with you, with all humility. Long way to go. The party is neither propping anybody. We are on the ground working, and the party is aggressive. We are taking on the DMK, questioning. A party like ADMK, for 3 years, they can't open their mouth. Suddenly, they are only, if you look at the whole election, ADMK was attacking BJP. They are not even attacking DMK. You track the Tamil Nadu Lok Sabha elections, sir. You cannot run a political party that ADMK's ethos is anti-DMK. But now it has become anti-BJP over the last 3-4 months, because they know very clearly BJP is getting into that space, anti-DMK
No, but
space.
there is a philosophical underpinning which is antagonistic towards the BJP, which is that this is a state where Hindi is looked at with derision. They're not big Hindi fans. Secondly, there's a north-south kind of sentiment that BJP is seen as a party of the Hindi heartland. So it's really like, trying to irrigate or farm in a very barren land. It's
Sir,
very
now-
difficult to have a good produce over here.
Our state is a state where some of the tallest Congress leaders pre-1967 were there, including the great Kamaraj Raya. Nationalism was there everywhere. Congress was winning elections and people were acceptable of a national party. This is the story before 1967. Even I'm talking about 20 years after independence. Now 1965, when the Congress tried to disastrously push Hindi, that is where everything started. Party got out. Karmaveer Kamaraj Raya was defeated by this unholy alliance of communist and DMK together. So we believe, sir, Tamil Nadu is never an anti-center state. It is Congress which made it anti-center by their behavior. Now, Congress party, you believe, sir, for everything they have done, they pushed Hindi into it. They have pushed everything that Tamil Nadu is inimical, they put to it. They banned Jallikattu during the tenure. And now Congress shamelessly aligns with DMK. DMK shamelessly aligns with Congress. And they talk about BJP, which is again the interest of Tamil Nadu. This is the biggest joke one can hear. If you look at everything, every action that has happened against Tamil Nadu over the last 50, 60 years, you will see Congress everywhere. So unfortunately, what it has happened, so national parties are getting affected narrative-wise because of Congress. If there is one government in the last 10 years which is pro-Tamil Nadu, Modi ji. Sir, you just imagine, sir, if you look at the BJP manifesto, look at all the regional languages. Look at all my BJP's manifesto. It is only Modi ji who said he will build Thiruvalluvar centers across the world and he will give Tamil the respect it deserves. So this is a pinpointed manifesto guarantee that Modi ji gave. So which other language you saw this, sir? That is the love Modi ji has got for Tamil. And Sengol in the center of parliament, Kasi Tamil Sangamam, Saurashtra Tamil Sangamam. And you cannot have a better leader who's not born in Tamil Nadu, having Tamil Nadu's interest at heart than Modi ji. So whatever they say, sir, I agree. It is all 1970, 1980, 1990 narrative. 2024, June 4, you will see it is truly broken for the final time and the last time.
The big debate in this election has been around reservation. We were speaking to Revant Reddy this morning. He says the BJP is, going to take away reservation. That this is a party that is basically, because the RSS ideology is a merit-based ideology, fundamentally opposed to reservation at the core. Therefore, at some point in time, that's the one ideological agenda left, ki reservation hatana hai.
Sir, now one thing we have to understand, today morning, if you look at Pandit Jawaharlal Nehruji's letter to chief ministers at different points of time, he was against reservation. He called people coming to reservation as second grade and third grade citizens. This is Pandit Jawaharlal Nehru, letters to chief ministers. And at different points of time, if you look at Congress mindset, Rajiv Gandhi ji, Mandal Commission report, he said opening a can of worms. VP Singh is trying to create a caste society. So Congress leaders at different point of time, they were against reservation per se. They were against the constitutional norms. There is one party that completely stood with the constitutional ethos and spirit. It is BJP. Modi ji is very clear. We are very clear. We are here to strengthen the constitution further. Whatever damage they have done to Indian constitution, it is Vajpayee ji and Modi ji who have strengthened it. I'll give you a simple thing, sir. 39th amendment to Indian constitution. Of course, you know 39th amendment. 1975 June, Allahabad High Court gave a judgment against Indira Gandhi ji for electoral malpractice. August 7, I want you to remember the date, sir. August 7, 1975, Thursday. She brought the 39th amendment into Lok Sabha saying, nobody can question the election of president, vice president, prime minister and speaker. Just to save her chair. August 8, Rajya Sabha. August 9, 1975, 17 Congress assemblies joined together, passed this 39th amendment. August 10, 1975, Sunday morning, President signs. August 10, 1975, Sunday afternoon, the government office is kept open. Printing press, they publish a gazette because August 11, 1975, it is coming for Supreme Court for hearing. They want to go to Supreme Court and say, no, we have passed an amendment. You cannot question my election. Now they are talking about constitution. A party which brazenly, shamelessly, Thursday, Friday, Saturday, Sunday, destroyed the constitution. 42nd amendment destroyed the constitution. Used 356 just like an ice cream candy. Dismissed governments. Took the spirit out of this constitution. They don't have any moral right to talk about BJP and constitution.
अच्छा अन्नामलाई जी ये बताओ आप हिंदी बोलते हो?
थोड़ा सा सीख रहा है सर, सीख रहा हूँ
क्योंकि आप हिंदी बोलोगे तो फंस जाओगे आपके स्टेट में पॉलिटिक्स में।
सर। हिंदी
आप हिंदी नहीं बोलोगे तो आपके बॉस परेशान हो जाएंगे, हिंदी बोलोगे तो आपके वोटर परेशान हो
सर,
जाएंगे।
हमारा बॉस, हमारा लीडर्स, we are only leaders sir, we don't have Congress boss mentality. So language is an opportunity to communicate. मेरा को कन्नड़ा अच्छा बोल सकता है सर, कारण मैं कन्नड़ा में कर्नाटका में काम किया, तमिलनाडु स्टेट मेरा स्टेट है, मेरा को तमिल मालूम है, इंग्लिश मेरा को मालूम है, थोड़ा सा मैं तेलुगु सीखने का मैं मुश्किल कर रहा हूँ, मलयालम सीखने का मैं कर रहा हूँ. So Hindi is something I'm trying to learn sir. Language can only unite people, language can never divide people.
But there is a strong एंटी हिंदी सेंटिमेंट ना तमिलनाडु में, तो वो चाहते ही नहीं कि हिंदी आए
सर. हिंदी,
अब आपकी पार्टी का मूल आधार है कि हिंदी को प्रमोट करो.
एंटी हिंदी imposition statement तमिलनाडु में है. Anybody is pushing Hindi compulsorily saying you learn, Tamil Nadu has got a problem. Now if you look at the exam, the Hindi exam that central government conducts, the level 1 exam, the level 1 of the Hindi, you call Pratmik you call?
अच्छा आप हिंदी अच्छे जानते हो, प्राथमिक आता है आपको?
Pratmik 2021, more Tamil people took Pratmik than any person in India. More Tamil people took Pratmik. Hindi Prachar Sabha in Tamil Nadu was established by Mahatma Gandhi ji. It is in Chennai. We have to understand, sir, Tamil people are never averse to Hindi. They learn Hindi, they can communicate in Hindi, they do business across the world in India. Now DMK has shifted this narrative to say imposition of Hindi is equivalent to learning Hindi. That is getting broken now. Even 3-language formula Modi ji says, you pick up a third language of your choice. Sir, Mahakavi Subramaniam Bharati, I'm sure you know Bharati. He said in Tamil, Yamarinda Moligalile, Tamil Molipol Inidavadi Engumille, meaning among all the languages I know, Tamil is the sweetest language. Of course, Tamil is his mother tongue. But he knows 14 languages, including Hindi. Then he said, it is not that I learn only Tamil as DMK fellow. In a mic, I say, oh, Tamil is a superior language in the world. Of course, Tamil is the oldest language. For you, your mother tongue is superior. For me, my mother tongue is superior. We should not get into this theory to say, my language superiority overrules your language superiority. That is what DMK is doing. Nothing wrong in learning a language, sir. Which all the youngsters of Tamil Nadu, you come and see, their mindset is completely different. They want to learn Hindi, they want to learn Kannada, they want to learn Telugu, they want to learn any language they want.
This has been a very beautiful boat ride. I was a little worried about how hot it will be, but because we are moving, it's very pleasant. Thank you very much for joining us.
Thank you
and
so
all the
much for
best
coming,
your
sir.
campaign and
So,
for the adventures
I would
ahead.
like to welcome you to Chennai, Coimbatore sometime. Look forward
to being with you.
Thank you, sir.
so
Very
much.
kind of you.
Thank you.
Thank you so much, sir.
Bengaluru gets a new sparkle with Bhima's second showroom at Dickinson Road. Exciting inaugural offers from August 23rd to 25th. Get special rates and offers on gold, silver, diamond and much more. Hurry, shop today at Bhima Dickinson Road. TNC apply.
On your podcast, let me tell you the story. Every other Indian publisher, no one agreed to publish it, only for the fact that it had being Hindu.
I wanted to read books on India and Hinduism. All the books were either written by white people who are not Hindus, who usually were Marxists, or were written by Indians who were brown but were Marxists.
We could count endless number of times that the BJP has lost. It has lost major states. What does that show us? It shows that the people of India choose whatever government they want.
Culture in the United States of America is you have arrived when you become white. Indians have become white adjacent. The problem with the Hindu community is every time they are faced with the question of caste, they come up with these tomes of apologia.
I believe India's rise is inherently peaceful, and therefore every attempt will be made to stop India's rise.
India is a union of states. There was no India. There was no continuing civilization. There is no cultural identity. That is a side that has a Stockholm syndrome. Because that is the same side that denies the record of Islamism in India. I'm very specific about my word. It's Islamism.
Sardar Patel himself never claimed to be right-wing. It's something that the left, even in his time, created. I do not consider myself right-wing. I'm a practicing Hindu.
India does not have a right-wing is because India celebrates poverty. I am the right-winger in this podcast, right?
Namaste, Jai Hind. Welcome to another edition of ANI Podcast with Smita Prakash. Today, my topic is on the war of narratives, because there's been a view that since 2014, when Mr. Modi came to power, and then in his second term, there's been a rewriting of history, and this history is with a bias. Whether there is an overall of narratives that is taking place, where certain facts were suppressed then, and as a result, have we all grown up with a contrived narrative, and whether this new narrative will create more fissures in our society. I have with me Hindol Sengupta, who's a scholar and a historian. He's written 10 books, including an award winning book called Being a Hindu. Kushal Mehra hosts the Charvaka podcast on politics, economy, religion, cricket, and all that lies in between. So, over to the two gentlemen. So, Hindol and Kushal, thank you so much for being part of the podcast.
Thank you for having me.
Thank you for having me.
Okay, so let me begin with Hindol. It's been said that the conservative right wing narrative did not find space in India since independence. And now there is a churning. Now, in the sense of since 2014 or maybe 2016 or 17, even in Lit Fest, one hears this, literary festivals, one hears this talk all the time that it's only now that historians with a conservative mindset or conservative view of what our history was, they are being heard, their books are being read, they're finding space to air their views, and there's a churning which is happening. Do you agree with that point of view?
I certainly agree, Smita, that there's a churning, but I have a bit of a contrarian point of view, and let me share that with you. I don't believe that there is such a vast right-left divide in our country. There's certainly a left, but the others, so to speak, who are non-left, are not necessarily right. For instance, Sardar Patel himself never claimed to be right-wing. Many of the people who are quote unquote held up today as icons of the so-called right never claimed to be right-wing. Sardar Patel is on record saying that I don't even understand this entire divide. It's something that the left, even in his time, created. Right? I am certainly not right-wing. I have said from every platform possible, I do not consider myself right-wing. I'm a practicing Hindu. And I do the history that I write is true to the education that I received, which is to be honest and factual to the material that I work with, right? Now, I see that there have been distortions made by certain people for certain agendas in the past, and there is a responsibility to correct it. Let me give you one example. Sardar Patel, for instance, was really neglected for a long, long time. It's unforgivable that Ambedkar and Patel had to wait till the 90s to be offered and given the Bharat Ratna. It's unforgivable, right? So therefore, there was a correction required. And that correction, I think, is what's going on now. Now, some people in that correction might consider themselves right-wing. I do not, because as a practicing Hindu, my argument is I cannot be anything but a liberal in the classic sense of the word, not a left liberal. I grew up in communist Calcutta, so I have nothing to do with that ideology. But I am a classic liberal, and I think Hinduism, as a practicing Hindu, teaches us the best values of classic liberalism. All the traditions, whether it's the Gauriya Vaishnavite tradition in Bengal from Sri Chaitanya, or of course Swami Vivekananda's tradition. You take all the traditions of Bengal where I come from. These are classically liberal traditions. So I follow that tradition. Now, I actually have a bone to pick with many of the hardcore conservatives. And I think many of this hardcore conservative sort of beliefs essentially is apologia, as we would say in academic work, for a defense, an insidious defense of caste. And I think that defense of caste is going to be the ruin of India. You can already see in Seattle, this has been tried for a long time, Smita. They've been trying to trigger this, this caste legislation in the US for a long, long time. It was tried in the Bay Area. The people fought back, right? Now it has been
Seattle, yes.
Now in Seattle, the Pandora's box has been opened. This is essentially a hit at India's prowess in the technology sector in the US. Every company now will be hit with this, and they will have to rethink, okay, should I really hire this person? What if tomorrow there's a case, and so on and so forth? So this underlying quote-unquote conservative caste apology, I'm not part of, and therefore I'm not part of the right wing. I am part of classic Hindu liberalism. I'm a practicing Hindu. And as a historian, I defend what I see to be right and true.
Interesting. Kushal, let me come to you. What do you have to say about what's happening in Seattle? You're seeing this. Um, in India, we tend to use this left and right terms very loosely. But caste, it's very important, right? These caste wars and typifying it in Seattle the way they have done. What is your view on this?
Well, the legislation, actually, I did read the legislation. I read the amendment. It's not many pages. It was just 2-3 pages. The most fascinating aspect of that legislation was that basically when the areas they cover, they include Africa also. Huh? So they mention certain areas that practice, quote unquote, what they called casteism. Coincidentally, it skips all the Western European nations and all of America and Canada and Australia and New Zealand. So basically, this was once again, if I was to say, the white man preaching again to the other plebeians that, hey, look at me. I'm not casteist. Let me reform you, you plebeian. Come here to me. So that's what the legislation is. But the problem is not just the legislation. The problem is the defense of the community in the diaspora too. The defense is a mishmash of, I don't know what word. It's like booga booga, I say, of caste is a Western colonial construct. Okay. Then, one simple question one needs to ask to those people is, if you look at genetic data for the last 1500 years in this subcontinent, especially in India, then Pakistan, less so in Bangladesh, they have pretty much become non-endogamous. But in India, endogamy is highly prevalent. Other than the Hasidic Jews, we are the people in the world that are highly endogamous. Arthas, we don't marry outside of our groups, jatis, stuff like that. So that's been going on for 1500 years. So who are you going to blame for that then? That this is a direct outcome of a certain habit that, now I'm not saying it was like that from day one, but it certainly is not British. Did the British make it more rigid? Yes, because of their census and many other things. But as far as I'm concerned, the caste legislation is a very normal process in any society where they flip the lens from the individual to the group. This is a very common practice. And this is just another. But why are people surprised? Like, there were two fascinating books that I read when I used to study over there and live over there in America. One was how the Irish became white, and the other one was how the Jews became white. So apparently there was a time where Irish people were not considered white and the Jews were also not considered white. So the culture in the United States of America is you have arrived when you become white. Indians have become white adjacent. And the
White adjacent.
Yes, white adjacent.
Interesting term, right?
Yeah, Indians have become white adjacent, and especially Hindus in that. So if you are a Muslim,
You mean proximity has made us what? Made Indians what? More liberal and hence illiberal, or what? What is it?
No, I think Fair and Lovely has finally won.
Okay.
So all that Fair and Lovely we put, finally the Americans said, "Tumne bahut acha kaam kiya, ab tum white ho gaye," kind of.
So what do you mean in the sense of this white adjacent?
White adjacent means that you are privileged because you have too much money. Because if you look at data in America, you have the highest amount of money literally parked with Indians, and not just Indians. Let's get real, Hindus. Even amongst the Indian community, if you break within the community per capita income, per family income down, you will see the Hindus are richer than the Muslim Indians, the Sikh Indians. These are just, the thing is, in those countries, these statistics are available. In our country, we hide everything. It's like, kisi ko bata nahi dena. But over there, it's quite clear. They realize that, and the ideology over there is like the same thing. Is the same parallel is now happening with the Jewish community too. They are also no longer considered in a major section of left-wing politics over there as oppressed, in spite of the horrors that community has gone through in a very recent past of humanity. So the same thing is happening to the Hindu community. The problem with the Hindu community is every time they're faced with the question of caste, they come up with these tomes of apologia that, and by the way, just to add to Hindol, the apologia doesn't stem in India. This is a very unique phenomenon where the Indians in India have learned the apologia of caste from North American Indians and Hindus. So it basically comes from there over here, and then we start giving the apologia for that. No, it is this, it is that. But as far as I'm concerned, for that society, so I used to be an entrepreneur, so I'll give you an entrepreneurial example of what exactly are they doing. So I call this sophisticated Firoti ka paisa.
Okay.
So when I used to run my factory, this is if you go in Navi Mumbai is much better now, but even today, if you go further away from Navi Mumbai, let's say in Badlapur, in Dombivli, in these areas, industrial areas, Maharashtra Industrial Development Corporation, so there are fixed rackets. So you can only buy brick from someone. You can only buy, coarse aggregate, जिसको हम खड़ी बोलते हैं हिंदी में, coarse aggregate, fine aggregate from certain people. Then there will be that local gunda who will come to your factory and say in Hindi, Sahab, ye aadmi ko rakho. And then you'll be like, why should I keep it? Now then, if you don't keep that person, he will do things. So how do you deal with it? Acha, I'm not going to keep that person, but what do you want so that you don't trouble me? And then you give some money. Now you change that scenario, you get into the United States of America. The United States of America ka person who comes to your door and says, Sahab, mujhko paisa do, is the diversity, equity, inclusion ka firauti racket. So everybody goes around, says, you are oppressor, you are oppressor, you are oppressor. How did you decide I am an oppressor? Well, we have this epistemology according to which if you have money, you are cancelled. If you are not of certain religious identity, you are cancelled. Now, unfortunately, for the Hindu community, they are not in the religious category, nor in the monetary bracket, ki ke bhai hum gareeb hain, kind of a thing. And you're too educated. And then, but still, the Indians were brown. So there the problem was arising, ki yaar, ye, how do I fix the brown problem? So then the great geniuses that lived in India, they said, hey, there's something called caste. You can hit them on the caste issue. Now, these are facts that a gigantic majority of the diaspora is what we would call general category in India. We cannot deny this fact. But for example, all of us have family over there. All of us have family that has children who are born over there. Can you name one child who has any caste consciousness over there? Who's born over there and raised over there?
That itself is privilege, isn't it? The fact that you don't, that the caste factor doesn't hit you. Would you agree with that?
Yeah, no, sir. See, this is a very complex issue. What caste used to be at a particular time. We have to go back into history for this,
Sure.
right? What kind of, so it's a question of caste is essentially at its very core a question of mobility. How mobile is the system? Kapil Kapoor, who I used to interact very closely with, once said that people assume that when Manu spoke about the Brahmins being the head and the Shudras being the feet, that that person, that Purusha, was standing up. What if they were lying down? What he was trying to say is that if the
Yeah.
Purusha is lying down, then everybody is on the same level,
okay.
right? Now,
There is never that level playing field.
There
though.
isn't, and yet,
But you were talking about that America would give that level playing field. No, Western democracies would.
And perhaps India also
it's
did
not.
at one point.
Okay.
Perhaps at one point it did, which is why, remember, our two great epics are not written by Brahmins, right? So if it was so privileged, then how is it that our two greatest epics neither are written by Brahmins?
Yeah.
So these are questions to ask. The word caste, of course, comes from Portuguese, as we all know. It comes from casta. So there has been a lot of work in the last 2 decades that has been done on where does the rigidity of caste come from. So there have been people like Prakash Shah and others in the UK who have looked at the statistical data and said, well, when the British began to enumerate these things and document them, they looked at these things as fixed groups. Perhaps they were not fixed. There was far greater mobility between the groups. There were, it was certainly Vivekananda believed that there was far greater mobility, and it is essentially your guna, your abilities, your merits that made you, that gave you that mobility, right? And certainly these issues, when they became rigid, is a question that we are still not entirely clear. There is still a debate about this. However, there is certainly this fact that in the next 10 years, as India tries to go from $3 to $5 trillion, it'll be hit by a bunch of things. My point is this, Smita. We always discuss these things as esoteric debates within our society.
True.
They are not. They are geopolitical issues. They are issues through which India's rise will be contained, or there's an attempt to contain India's rise. So what can you hit India with? Caste. Caste is one major thing you can hit India with. If you can break the back of Indians in the Silicon Valley, that'll be really a powerful weapon. you can see already the divisions are coming up again in Punjab.
Yeah.
Already, there's a simmering of the Khalistani movement again. In places like Australia, many of us were astonished to see that this has now reached Australia. It was always there in England
The
and
attack
Canada.
on temples there.
Indeed, attack on temples, the coming together, the referendum happening in Australia.
Yeah.
So all of these things are if you really take a step back and think about it, who in the world, the powers that be today, wants another billion-strong country to grow at 6-7% and hit $1 trillion mark? Because once you hit $1 trillion, that's it. There you've cleared. I mean, now then your rise is impossible to stop, and then you cannot not take that country with importance. Nobody wants another country like that because the fear is it'll become another China.
Yeah, status quo helps many people.
Of course, and the
most
fear
countries,
is
most powerful countries.
Absolutely, and they would much rather want a South Korea where you're prosperous, economically prosperous, but you entirely toe their line on every other subject. So people want another Australia or a South Korea. They do not want another China. Now, I'm not suggesting that India will become another China, not at all. I believe India's rise is inherently peaceful and India will create a different model for itself. But that's the fear. And therefore, every attempt will be made to stop India's rise. And I think we should look at things like caste, the Khalistan movement, all kinds of other things, the fissures in our society through the lenses of India's geopolitical rise.
Yeah.
To continue on what Hindol was saying about, status quo working for these so-called liberal democracies, progressive democracies, rich democracies, it doesn't gel well that India would be, a prosperous nation or a middle income also. India may be yahi problem hai na. So when there are people who say that we should aspire to be Vishwa Guru, the others say that, listen, first, you're not even there. You're not even got economic prosperity or even a standard of living which is to be appreciated, that हाँ अच्छा roti, kapda, makan, sadak, bijli, pani hai. So jab tak wo nahi hai, what nonsense are you talking about Vishwa Guru in any concept? So tell me about this parallel views which are running.
Well, every society has its romanticists, romantics. Every society has its supremacists. So the Vishwa Guru syndrome is something that I personally mock a lot. I was like, Vishwa Guru of what? Vishwa Guru of mediocrity as of now. What are we going to be a Vishwa Guru at? But I don't mock the aspirational aspect of it. You should aspire to be a Vishwa Guru. You should aspire to be a universalist. You should aspire to, make sure your value system, because I personally believe, I think value systems that have come, especially in the moral ethical range from India, are actually superior to the Western Greco-Roman moral ethical range. But my background is in philosophy, so I'm just giving that point of view. But just to add on that privilege bit, I actually disagree on this privilege point. Okay, should you acknowledge privilege? Yes. अभी उसके बाद वो जैसे तब मैं क्या करूं, जान ले लूं अपनी, तो क्या करूं मैं, मतलब अभी रोज अभी एक चप्पल लूं अपने सर पे मारूं.
पर क्यों नहीं होता? You know why? Because we for generations have glorified about poverty and about not having. हाँ, कि हम लोग इतने गरीब परिवार से, आज भी देखो ना, our leaders talk like that only ना, that मेरे पास 2 वक्त की रोटी नहीं थी. So okay, very good, appreciate it, fabulous that you have reached where you have. You came from nowhere, but there are others also. So it gives you, I saw this Trevor Noah's thing, where he himself says being deprived is not, it's something that these Western democracies, or when you reach that level of affluence, you look back and say, हाँ देखो, but you don't ever want to be there. So why do you want to keep on glorifying that part?
Yeah, because that's the only way you feel good and not feel guilty at a cognitive level. This is something everybody does. In fact, it's very funny. I was meeting a bunch of kids yesterday, and I told them, I was like, never apologize for being born in a middle class family. Never apologize for that. A child born in North America should not apologize being born in a so-called upper caste house, because that child did not choose that. First of all, you did not select being born in that house. That it's not like agreement sign की थी किधर पैदा होने के पहले कि कहाँ पैदा होना भाई, वो तो बेचारा पैदा हो गया, अभी वो बच्चे का क्या दोष है? You can acknowledge it. You can be sympathetic to other people's plight. You can maybe participate in the process of those people getting out of it, but not apologize for it. I'm never going to be apologetic about that. And this entire culture stems from fetishization, and the West is a past master at that. You know, the West mindset, यार इनको इंडिया में आके स्लमडॉग मिलियनेयर ही बनाना होता है, और तो कुछ बना नहीं पाते हैं, ये वही बनाते हैं. ये पावर्टी पॉन है, और क्या है? This is poverty porn, and this is a very old way of these people. In fact, I used to notice this in Western discourse. Every time a Westerner, you show them something and they have to feel good about themselves, they will always point the camera to some country which they call third world, and then they show rubbish in that country, and they're like, हाँ हम इनसे तो अच्छे हैं ना.
वो खाली बर्तन shot.
Yeah, so I mean,
we shouldn't say this in front of Hindol, because the criticism also is that Satyajit Ray's films did a lot of that. So you know, the North Indian concept is ये बंगाली जब film बनाते हैं इनको award मिलता है और ये खाली बर्तन ही दिखाते हैं सारा time.
I mean, you know, that's an entirely different conversation.
Debate, yes.
But having said that, you know, of course, Ray never, you know, Ray was never
he
showing
didn't.
poverty.
No, he did.
If you know what I mean,
Yes,
right?
yes, of course. It's like the same thing that I mean, I'm being facetious, of
Yeah, yeah,
course.
no,
So
no.
YouTube में
We
please
just-
hate mat bhejna mere ko. It's not as if I'm saying Shyam Benegal, Satyajit Ray, sab ye poverty porn dikhate the. But the point is, what Kushal was making is that the fallback mechanism of the West used to be that.
Quite
But then
right.
what is your problem अगर हम विश्व गुरु के लिए कोई बोलता है कि विश्व गुरु बनना है?
मगर किसमें विश्व गुरु से, यही तो मुझे खींच मचती है इन चीजों से. किसमें विश्व गुरु हो? मतलब पहले
बनना है.
बनना ठीक है, मगर बनना नहीं है. मेरी प्रॉब्लम है जो लोग कहते हैं कि जो विश्व गुरु हैं वो कह रहे हैं. मतलब 2014 में ये तो गवर्नमेंट के आंकड़े हैं कि आधा देश रास्ते में हग रहा था. और पहले हगना तो बंद कर दो रास्ते में, फिर विश्व गुरु बनने की बात करो.
तो that's
नहीं,
what
but
Modi
मेरा
did
एक,
ना.
I have a.
He built the toilets, no?
So I
no.
appreciated it.
Okay.
No, so I have a. So, look, we are 1.4 billion now, right? If you think about a time when all of the problems, even at the baseline, will be solved, it will not happen in our
True,
lifetime.
yeah.
Right? We can't wait for that. It's like people used to say, oh, why do we want mobile phones? Raste to pehle bana lo.
Yeah, this was said about Ambani when he said that I want everybody to have a mobile phone. If you
In our
remember,
lifetime, you know,
in our lifetime,
in our
yes.
lifetime, we've heard this. कि रास्ते तो बन नहीं पाए आपके, you know, लोगों को तो खाना नहीं मिल रहा,
पानी नहीं
mobile
मिल
phone
रहा.
mobile phone के बाद.
People are still walking to fetch water.
And-
What are you giving mobile phone for?
And this is in politics. If you remember,
Sure.
Mr. Chidambaram said in Parliament, what are you talking about? UPI, अरे farmer बैठ के ऐसे थोड़ी mobile पे पैसा मिल जाएगा. What rubbish
Yeah.
you're teaching us. So I think technology is enabling us to leapfrog certain things.
Yeah.
If you look at our vaccination program today there's no doubt, right?
Yeah.
India's homegrown vaccines have done much better. Now there's a Stanford report on it.
Yeah.
How many millions of lives Indians vaccines have saved. They have done much better than the Pfizer vaccine, for instance. You will remember what a pressure there was from certain Indian liberal elite quarters to say that India must get that Pfizer. क्यों नहीं आ रहा है Pfizer vaccine हमारे पास?
Yeah.
अभी लाओ, आज लाओ, कल लाओ, whatever.
The
right?
Bollywood celebrities and writers,
You know,
were
and
like,
people were holding up
मुझे
placards.
Pfizer दो.
You know, as if they were asking for God, right?
Yeah.
And yet that would have been a disastrous decision. So, you know, Ashley Tellis recently said in an interview that one of the most curious things about the Indian elite is this. You ask the elite of any country, given the circumstances, if possible, they would want their country to attain great power status. It is only strangely within the Indian elite that they don't want their country, or many of them don't want their country to attain great power status. This is a very strange thing.
Isn't it something Ramachandra Guha had said in a speech once, that India not only should not try and it should not aspire, it should actually make sure it never becomes one.
Yeah, you know, Ashley Tellis and Mr. Jaishankar worked together in the 1-2-3
course,
deal.
Of course.
And I was trying to bring him to speak on this, about this whole thing about Indian elite. You know, Kushal, Rajiv Gandhi, when he became Prime Minister and he was talking about computers, us time bhi aise hi hua tha, that what? Computers, India, and he was pilloried so much for just this thing that, you know, have you seen where our status is? Hum log kahan bana sakte hain computers? Who will use computers? And then there used to be cartoons of him, computer boy. So, you know, this, I understand this Vishwa Guru sounds a little pompous on our part when we still have so much that we have to rectify in our country. But wanting to be there is something we should be?
Yeah.
You-
I have
you
no
don't have a
issues with
bone to
wanting
pick.
to be. My
Huh.
issue is always, see, my issue is with the people and the false supremacists who, it is very annoying to hear from people. And this is not koi average onga ponga uncle whom you meet over dinner or breakfast. There are many politicians and
Huh.
semi-political class people who come on a microphone and say, हमारे पास तो सारे आंसर थे. अच्छा, सारे आंसर थे आपके पास, तो फिर ये क्या करके बैठ गए हो अगर सारे आंसर थे? और फिर अगर if you counter question that, they're like, प्रॉब्लम क्या है इस देश में? So which is why, to the beginning point, India does not have a right wing is because India celebrates poverty. And the celebration of poverty is not just a communist thing. The celebration of poverty is a pan-Indian political spectrum thing. I've never hidden my voting patterns, never, ever. Everybody who knows me knows who I vote for. But including the political outfit I vote for,
Yeah.
the celebration of poverty and this false simplicity that, oh, सादगी में रहना चाहिए, उसको नहीं रहना, उसको पहनना है अच्छा कोट, तेरे पैसे थोड़ी ना ले रहा है.
Do you remember Suit Boot Ki Sarkar? How it impacted? How dare you wear a suit?
हम अगर वही तो
You are
problem
a
हो गया
chai
ना.
wala, how dare you wear a suit?
तो zeitgeist में था ना, and the prime minister had to change course.
I think it began in India at some point. There were many people of our parents' generation, our parents' generation, grandparents' generation, where the ostentatious display of wealth was considered
Vulgar.
not kosher and vulgar. I think there is a point there. There is definitely a point there. That we have taken it to the other extreme to suggest that why should we ask for mobile phones is ridiculous.
Okay.
However, having said that, and considering we live in Delhi of all places,
Yeah, conspicuous consumption is the biggest thing in
we
this city.
should at some point, consider that perhaps there was a little bit of a point that, a little bit of considerate, consumption
But
perhaps.
Hindu, there's no middle path in us. We live in Delhi, conspicuous consumption बहुत है. तो हमारे सारे parliamentarians सादगी में आएंगे. They will dress in khadi, they will wear kolhapuri chappal and all. But बेटे की शादी will be in Udaipur Palace. Sabyasachi, Manish Malhotra spend crores in that and then come back and wear that sadgi. That
घर में
poor
painting कितनी
anomalized
महंगी होती है.
watch, he got trolled because he was wearing a Rafale watch. So he said, how can you afford a Rafale watch? You're nothing.
And in Tamil Nadu, the wealth that's there in Tamil Nadu, it's insane.
So tell me this, even in the liberal democracies, we seeing in the, when I say liberal, I obviously mean Western democracies, there's this view that liberalism is under threat because of rise of nationalism. Do you see that?
No, not at all. Look, nationalism is completely misunderstood. I have long argued that post-colonial nations cannot look at nationalism the way the West looks at nationalism. It's not possible. We have a different lived experience. We cannot negate that. Today, George Soros thinks of nationalism from the prism of what he saw as a 14-year-old living under Nazi-occupied Hungary. That's his prism. He then saw the Soviet Union, the oppression, and so on and so forth. That's his lens. We cannot see nationalism like that because without nationalism, we would have never become independent. It makes no sense. So post-colonial nations can never look at nationalism the way the West looks at nationalism. We cannot look at nationalism and feel frightened. We look at nationalism and feel hope because our entire existence comes from the fact that we were nationalists, right? So, and even our growth, look, in order for a transition to happen even to a middle income country and then to a great power, it requires a national ambition and a national consensus. Building that national consensus that we are getting there and we will get there requires a generous dose of positive nationalism. Now, all of this cannot be eradicated from post-colonial countries. If you eradicate that, then it's, the fissures of those countries will break them apart. And perhaps that's what many of our detractors want. It's long argued, and even today it's argued, India is not a nation. It is it is a coming together of states. It's a union of states. That is a fundamental, it's a very dangerous argument. That to argue India is not a nation is a very dangerous argument because it completely decries 5,000 years of civilization. You're essentially saying that India had a long civilization and civilizational unity, that India had a culture that transcended to every part of its geography, that extensive work has been done showcasing the sacredness, the sacred unity of the geography. All of it means nothing. Only 1947 counts. This is a very dangerous argument. This is an argument for the balkanization of India. And mark my words, people who make this argument are triggering fissures in this country, which will, God forbid, lead to trouble in the future.
Do you agree with that, Kushal?
Yes, Indian discourse is, in my view, in largely two camps. One camp of Indian discourse has a Stockholm syndrome. And one camp of the Indian discourse has a post-traumatic stress disorder. That's by and large our Indian discourse. The reason this discourse has become so vicious and so hard is because on one side, which is the side that Hindol talks about, which says India is a union of states, there was no India, there was no continuing civilization, there is no cultural identity, and that is the side that has a Stockholm syndrome. Because that is the same side that denies the record of Islamism in India. I'm very specific about my word. It's Islamism in India.
Why do you say that?
Because it is the political usage of a certain ideology and its superimposition. And वो यहाँ के डांडिया नहीं खेल रहे थे हमारे साथ जब वो आए. उन्होंने कुछ चीजें की हैं और अच्छा मजे की बात है कि
they didn't come to steal, they didn't come to, that's also a thing.
Yeah,
they didn't come to steal wealth.
ऐसे हाथ पकड़ के हमारे साथ डांस तो नहीं कर रहे थे वो. उन्होंने अपनी अच्छा मजे की बात है कि if you have this discussion with the Stockholm syndrome side, so वो बोलेंगे कि बताओ किधर है, मतलब उसकी किताब है, उसी ने लिखा हुआ है. चाचनामा हो गया, बाबरनामा हो गया, बहुत सारे हो गए. तो नहीं, वो तो invaders जो होते हैं, they tend to exaggerate their claims. It's like, wait, what? Okay, let us assume they exaggerated the claim. Okay, can you give me a scientific answer of, can you calculate the exaggerated percentage? So मतलब दो तो करे ना उसने, दो तो करे. नहीं वो दो भी नहीं है. So you don't understand. And then it is the other side, the post-traumatic stress disorder side. The post-traumatic stress disorder side is still stuck at a stage, and Hindol and a few others are the exception, but not the norm. And I say this with all seriousness. That is in a 24 घंटे का रुदाली फेज. उनको रोने से प्यार हो गया है. वो रोना बहुत पसंद करते हैं. वो इतना रोते हैं क्योंकि उनको लगता है रोने से अटेंशन मिल रही है. अभी रोते रहोगे, मगर सच तो बताओ. सच बताने वाले कितने हैं यहाँ पे? फॉर एग्जाम्पल, हिंडोल ने किताबें लिखी, ठीक है, पढ़ो. विक्रम संपत ने किताब लिखी, पढ़ो. संजीव सन्याल ने किताब लिखी, पढ़ो. पढ़ना है नहीं, हमने पूरा टाइम रोना है. सो जब एक साइड रो रही है और दूसरा साइड आपके रोने के कारण को डिनाई कर रही है, डिस्कोर्स कैसे होगा इस देश में? अगर आप आज छोटी छोटी चीजें होती है. जब मेरे साथ कोई बात करता है, आई से इंडिया, सो the imposition is you are making India a Hindu Rashtra. My answer is not apologetic. My answer is, I think you mean you are making India a Hindu Rajya. India is already a Hindu Rashtra. Our chitti, our essence is what we loosely call. And when I mean Hindu, I include Bulle Shah in it too. I don't exclude
various
Bulle Shah.
kinds, including atheism, which which you talk about in your podcast. You talk about so much about.
So that's the whole
that
point,
too.
right?
That's also part of Hinduism. People don't understand
and they
it.
deny that, right?
Right.
They
Yeah.
deny that. I've been mocked by Western atheists.
Yeah, your podcast, I've seen that, in which the very name itself.
Yeah, Charvak.
So usko bhi troll isliye hota hai ki how can you speak about Hinduism because you and then you say thoda pad lo na.
But these are old battles, the who has the, there are,
Who
my
has the
friend,
control over narrative?
who
over
has the control over, and who can speak for Hindus?
Right.
That's another question.
Correct.
But this battle has
And you've
been
written
going
a
on.
book on this.
Yeah, no, and even
One of the most, I think, well-read books of yours.
and in spite of how the book did and the awards it won and whatever, there's still people who will say, oh, but you don't have adhikar or something. My friend Sanjeev Sanyal says whenever people get bored, they come to Twitter and start spelling things with capital letters in between of words. So then they say we have
Double AR,
adhikar.
adhikar.
So and there is a whole But I want to put another thing to you. See,
Right.
this debate on what happened with Islam in India, what happened with conversions, all of this should come out, right? I have no doubt that all of this should come out. All the conflicts and so on and so forth. However, if the main point of our national discourse is to find out these conflicts, it's been 8 years of Narendra Modi's government, right? A lot has come out. And we are now, I think, at a far more healthier state of discourse. It's not so skewed like it used to be before. I think the Prime Minister had asked for a 10-year...
Before bole to?
Before 2014.
No,
Let me tell you a story.
So now you are saying it is skewed, but if you hear the
they will say it's
the
not.
center left and the left,
they will say it not.
When I'm saying center left and left, I mean the Marxist ideology people who had a control over the narrative.
So I'll tell you the story. Let me give you on your podcast. Let me tell you the story. Do you know, people talk about being Hindu. You also mentioned the book. Do you know what trouble I had to go through to publish that book? Let me tell you the story. I had already written 4 or 5 books before I published Being Hindu. My publisher, I changed publishers with Being Hindu. My publisher at that time, who used to be my publisher, refused to publish it. My agent in America then went to every other Indian publisher. No one agreed to publish it. Only for the fact that it had Being Hindu. They said, why can't it be called Being Indian? All kinds of things, right? Then, and people should know the story. What happened after that? My agent happened to meet Shobha Dey in the Jaipur Literature Festival and told her that, look, this is a great book. It's, written by this guy. She said, I will publish it under my own imprint. When word got around that Shobha Dey was going to publish it and push it, that's when suddenly interest gathered again and the book got published. But the story doesn't end there, Smita. Do you know, after the success of Being Hindu, after Being Hindu became the first book on Hinduism to win the Wilbur Award in America, after that, when I wanted to publish the Sardar Patel book, there were editors who called up different publishers to say, this book should never be published. We shouldn't publish a book on Patel at the moment because it will support some political ideology. So I had to fight. I mean, I cannot tell you how much I had to fight to publish each book of mine.
It's like the same thing about Veer Savarkar, no?
Of course.
It's the same way that, anybody who wanted to write about Savarkar, because of the different views about Savarkar, what he was before cellular jail, post-cellular jail, the connection with Godse and the others, so the whole thing that, several generations of Indians grew up thinking Veer Savarkar villain. But from a certain section of India, they grew up thinking, no, he was not a villain. He had various shades to it. So why not read the various shades to it till Vikram's book came out, Vikram Sampath's book. So Kushal, tell me, since you have this podcast which does well, what is the interaction that people have, when they come back? Do you see a pushback to this new narratives which are coming out about our historical, about history, being the new authors who are coming back? Do they say, nahi, ye to confuse kar rahe hain. Fissures which existed, which were closed, now these guys are opening up these fissures. Nahi hona chahiye.
So it's very interesting. So I know a lot of lefties listen to my podcast. So it's very funny. Everybody is almost left-wing in India, but it is like leftists, and then there are leftists who the leftists don't want to eat dinner with. So it's like that. Our political discourse is pretty much like that.
Academia especially, I think. And journalism.
So and I know this for a fact. Naam nahi lunga, tum jante ho tum kaun ho. So they'll message me privately. Arey, nice podcast, yaar. I was like, share karna. नहीं यार क्यों अरे नहीं मेरा ये बोल देगा वो बोल देगा it exists. My point is that the reason they resist to pick up, because this is the resistance to his book is the answer to what you have asked. Why do they resist books like this? Just look at how the vicious attacks that have happened on Vikram Sampath.
Yeah.
the viciousness, they will never pick up the book, read it, and counter it. They don't do that. They will always counter the quack on Twitter that makes outlandish claims, which is what I was saying when it was about the Vishwagurus. You cannot deal with this scenario in any balanced way. All you can do as a content creator that I do is you just go on doing what you're doing. And it's not like I don't call left-wing people.
Yeah.
They don't come. There is no stopping me. I am an independent guy. Nobody tells me whom to talk to. Nobody comes. Now some come because they think, अरे इसका तो थोड़ा नाम हो गया, अभी इसको avoid नहीं कर सकते. But the point is, most of them still will not come when I may be more liberal on social issues than most of the left-wingers are. But this is a classic case on, as far as the feedback is concerned, private feedback means zero to me. So my, by and large, feedback is usually positive, or there are two sides that always are mad at me. The ultra casteist side, that is always eternally
I've
mad.
seen, like, there are some who collate this overtly religious symbolism, tradition, conventions, dharmic, rituals with nationalism, right-wing history, narration. उस सब का एक collation हो जाता है. So if you don't do it, like, maybe you don't fast during the Navratris, so then you become, you're anti-Hindu, you're not practicing religious. ऐसे होता है आपके साथ?
मेरे साथ, I mean, the funny
Because
bit
of
is,
the ek to
I am
naam
a vegetarian during Navratri.
Okay.
Because I just keep the tradition on. I don't believe in the divine aspect of it, but it's just something I do as a Punjabi, right? It's Punjabi culture, so we are vegetarians for 9 days.
See, this is what Indore. There's a culture, there's a tradition, there is overt religious aspect.
Yeah, I do face this. So they will say things like, there are very rarely. I mean, look, I have received nothing but love from most people, but the pushback will be, it's like, how can somebody come and tell me, "Arey tu to nastik hai," and consider me to be offended by it? This is like going to someone and saying, "Arey teri do aankhein hain." अरे मैं तो हूं ही ना, मेरे को ऑफेंस कैसे होगा? This is like me going and saying, अरे तू मूर्ति पूजा क्या? अरे तो हूं ना, तो क्या?
No, what has happened is, you see, a lot of these conversations, they were at a private domain. Before social media came into being, nobody had any occasion or space also to show that, oh, look, I am doing Karwa Chauth, whether to prove a point or to disprove a point.
True,
right?
yes.
With social media, it has become a point. Now, the moment it becomes a point to prove or to disprove, there's another faction who will attack or support.
Yeah.
So all of these things, we grew up, and I think all of us grew up with, there was a certain public conversation about faith or religion, but most of the private practices were private. It's something you did. Your mother did certain, like he's saying, hamare ghar pe, Punjabis do this, so we also do.
मैं तो दिवाली की पूजा खुद करता हूँ.
But this primacy of religion in public discourse.
And I think this
about
is
that.
So again, I actually think that is not a good sign, in my opinion, because I feel we are such a diverse country. And if we really need to fulfill our manifest destiny, so to speak, if we really want to be Vishwaguru, we need to now focus, especially in the next 10, 15 years, on what makes us one, what brings us together rather than what sets us apart. Because if we focus at a day-to-day basis, like you're saying, Diwali mein, okay, now this campaign will be done ki ye ad to bahut bura hai, or something ki ye to something.
Yeah.
This makes, I have had people who are, really devout Shaktas, Shakti worshippers, say, people have come up to them and say, but in Diwali, and they're like, well, I didn't feel like doing this. I did Kali Puja instead, whatever. If we get into all of this, and not just in Hinduism, in all faiths of the country, if we get into more and more deeper into every day pointing out what separates us, there will be a problem. There will be a problem. No country in the world has ever risen with incessant focus on what divides people.
Yeah.
We must have a national consensus and conversation about what brings us together.
But if I was to, play the devil's
Sure,
advocate out here, this is exactly what the left wingers say, that, this whole thing about
Yeah.
the new narrative, about
Yeah.
that everything about the old narrative was bad. The reason was because history writing was part of building the nation, that
Right.
nationhood feeling post independence, to put band-aid over all our fissures. So hence the what Kushal was mentioning, wo aaye the, they broke our idols, they broke this, they looted.
Yeah,
Let's
was hidden.
was hidden. Let's
Right.
not talk about
Yeah.
that. Let's concentrate on the good part of even the
Bad portion, so to speak. Yeah.
bad portions.
Yeah.
So let's talk about that. So now if you're going
And
to
am
be
I saying the same
writing,
thing? Yeah.
you're going to be opening up those fissures again.
course.
Those wounds, those ghaves are going to come up all over again.
Of
So
course.
then
So my point is that, look, we have already had nearly a decade of opening whatever needed to be opened, right? We are reaching a decade of a correction, a very much needed correction. A really important correction has already been achieved over a decade, not 6 months, not 1 year, but a full decade has gone in this. And more will be done. My only point is, if we continue, especially on social media, because you see, to be honest with you, how many people are, some people are reading the books, I'm very happy. But in real terms, 1.4 billion, how many are really reading, going back and reading the books and going into the depth?
True.
Especially on social media, if we continue this relentless campaign to focus on, and not just books, I'm not even talking just about books. Look at attacks on different communities. Smitha, we are a 1.4 billion strong country. People are fighting with each other and killing with each other in every part of the country, every day, something.
Yeah.
If every day we point out 5 incidents and say, look, these are between these communities, this is between. Now, some of them may be true and it's a localized thing. We have forgotten how to tackle things at a localized level.
Yeah.
Everything becomes a national issue.
True.
It doesn't, okay, maybe something happened there. Maybe it caused a lot of turmoil also. It's a localized issue. It doesn't have to become a national issue.
Yeah, it's like Kushal. I mean, since you use social media a hell of a lot, it's like one celebrity Hindu-Muslim marriage is seen as a beacon ke kuch hota hi nahi hai. And if you just go to the registrar's office, you will see hundreds in every city every day.
Yeah,
I'm not saying hundreds, kabhi, hundreds of these marriages which are happening, of inter-religious marriages. But then one celebrity marriage is seen as, oh, in this era of aftabs and this and that, ek dekho ho gaya,
bahut,
or one lynching incident might happen and that colors your entire past, your entire present.
और वो सब में आ जाएगा, मतलब कि कोई उस हफ्ते अगर कोई फॉरेन मिनिस्टर विजिट कर रहा है, उसमें भी किसी ने बोल दिया, मतलब कुछ भी.
वो तो देखो,
so everything is social media driven now.
So social media driven, basically, आपको पता नहीं, you guys remember ना, वो वेगस की slot machine होती थी, ऐसे होती है.
हाँ.
There is a reason for that.
Crap machine or whatever it's called.
So it if when you move that hand like this, it creates a dopamine rush.
Yeah.
So because
sorry, when you do like this, no, in our country, at least my generation, I don't know you, वो flush का
हाँ वो तो
chain वाला flush होता है,
वो तो ट्रेन में भी होती है.
ट्रेन का चेन होता था. So don't do that movement.
नहीं, मगर वेगस की slot machine में literally you go right now. So why is the mobile phone refresh button also like this? It's literally the same
technology. हमें
technology.
कितनी सादगी है. हम क्या सोचते हो, तुम वेगस के बारे में सोच रहे हो. This shows तुम कितने ultra capitalist हो.
मैं तो हूँ. So for the record,
मध्यम वर्गीय है.
I am the right winger. I am the right winger in this podcast, right? I am
stated right winger.
Stated right winger. मैं तो हूँ. मुझे तो शर्म भी नहीं आती. मगर just to
शर्म भी नहीं आती. Now look, Hindol, how he has to qualify that by saying it.
Yes.
शर्म भी नहीं आती.
We have become a country of people wanting to poke each other at every instance. मतलब चैन से कोई कुछ कर ही नहीं सकता.
तो ऐसे थोड़ी ना होता था. सोशल मीडिया में ट्रोल नहीं करूंगा तो मजा कैसे आएगा?
So which is why I have figured कि don't put anything of your personal life in any way, some people you're meeting or whatever on social media, because somebody will point some fault with it. अच्छा तुमने ग्रीन कलर पे प्लेट पे खाया बस
हाँ.
उसको लेके problem.
Suddenly, no, green has become Islam, or saffron has become Hindu. Biryani has become Muslim, and pulao has become Hindu. तो हर चीज को ऐसे करेंगे. I'm just very grateful that idli has not changed.
No, and the thing is,
News.
green in
उसको भी
Bengal was
उस-
always about, the green fields of Bengal,
Green Hindu में green
Of
नहीं है
course.
क्या? Islam में भी green है.